Hotep, brothers and sisters. Yeah. You're now at the funerary temple of Ursa Ma'at Ra, Septepen Ra, Ramesu, or as we know as otherwise as Ramses II of the 19th dynasty. This is where our story has been most viciously persecuted. This is where our story has been most viciously persecuted by biblical accounts that has nothing to do with the historical documentation that our ancestors have carved here in stone. But it's from looking at the pylons that we're going to show in a few minutes that somebody came here and copied the concepts of Ursa Ma'at Ra, Septepen Ra, and incorporated into an allegorical biblical story that have no historical accounts whatsoever. Now, before I get into it, I want to tell you a story about Ursa Ma'at Ra, Septepen Ra, and his battle of Kadesh with the Hittites. And the story says that Ramses II, who wanted to complete the battle that his father, Seti I, didn't complete, and that is to defeat the Hittite forces in the north. And he took his armies, and they were the Brigade of Amun-Ra, Ptah. He named them after the Netters. But somehow Ramses got way ahead of his forces, and he found himself surrounded by the Hittite forces. And he called on the god Amun. He said, I've given praise to thee. I have given homage to thee. I've always given libation to thee. Now I find my enemy all around me. Then the spirit of Amun came to Ursa Ma'at Ra, Septepen Ra, or Ramses II. And through the spirit of Amun-Ra, he told Ramses to maneuver his forces, although the Hittites have outnumbered him, told him to maneuver his forces into an arrow, something like a chess game. Whoever takes over the first squares in the middle starts to control the game. So he got his forces to move in an arrow. And Ramses triumphantly got in his chariot and forced his forces right down the middle of the Hittite forces, causing them to scatter. And from that, he ran them into the Orontes River, where many of them were flooded out and drowned at this point. So Ramses saved himself from the Hittite forces, from the spirit of Amun. He didn't call on the Hittites' God. He called on the God of his ancestors. He called on the God of many thousands of years. And the spirit of Amun came to him and able for him to defeat the Hittite forces. But how has the story come to us? Because we have been victimized by saying that there was a story where Ramses, this African pharaoh who's been most persecuted in the biblical account, that he enslaved some people. And that Ramses, and also mostly through Cecil B. DeMille's movies, that's where most of us have become victimized into believing this story, that through the Exodus, the people left. And then God sent the people across the Red Sea. Moses took and raised his magic rod, and the Red Sea opened up. Is that right? And then these people came across the Red Sea, and then they closed the Red Sea and caused Ramses' forces to be flooded over. Is that right? Let me also show you on the reliefs here. Now this is Ramses. See his chariot right here? This is his chariot. This is the Battle of Kadesh now. Carved in stone over 3,000 years ago. Now look at Ramses running the Hittite forces into the Orontes River. Notice the chariot's upside down. Just like you would see it in Cecil B. DeMille's movie on the Exodus, or Moses, showing, but the story is that Ramses' army is being flooded out. But here's the exact story showing the Hittite forces upside down. Some of the men are even floating on the water right here. See them? And the chariots, look at some of the chariots upside down. So somebody came here long ago and copied this story and turned it against African people and claimed it for themselves, because these temples were under the sand for hundreds of years. They were dug out during the rise of, as I said before, European Egyptologists. Okay, Egyptology, and with the rise of Egyptology, this is what caused these temples to be dug out of the sand to make tourist dollars. These temples were not always open, they were under the sand. So now you can see clearly that we're coming back, not as tourists, but to reconstruct African people's story from the racist biblical accounts that we got that were racist rabbis sit down and write. How can someone give us a picture version or a Hollywood Ashkenazi European Jewish version of the story that was literally plagiarized from here?